welcome to episode number 66 of the Cheesesteaks and Controllers podcast, presented by Fox PHL The Gambler, 102.5 FM, 1480 AM, and iHeartRadio. This is Jason Finelli, the esports and gaming insider for Fox PHL The Gambler, and I come at you tonight with mixed emotions. One topic that I will be speaking about this evening has me very sad. The other one has me very much happy. Lots of great things to talk about in that second topic tonight. The third one is just going to be a little preview. We're not quite there yet as to whether or not it's going to be a good thing or a bad thing, depending on the teams that win. We'll get to that. And maybe while we're listening tonight, we'll give something away. I don't normally get to do that, but I think I'm going to give something away this week. And just make sure you're listening to this and following me on social media at Big Man Finelli, because I'm going to ask you a question about this episode. And if you've listened to it, you may have a chance to win a pair of passes to the Too Many Games Expo happening in 2 weeks at the Greater Philadelphia Expo Center in Oaks, Pennsylvania. Been to that convention center many times for video games, for beer, and for other things. It's a great place, and they're going to have a great convention there coming up soon. So if you want to win a pair of passes to that, make sure you listen to this episode and next week's episode. I'll be giving away 2 pairs for the next 2 episodes leading up to the show itself on October the 8th through the 10th. But before we do any of that, let's get right down into the 6 in 60 seconds. Your Philadelphia Fusion lose both matches in their 2021 Overwatch League playoff campaign, falling 3-1 to the LA Gladiators in the first match and 3-2 to the San Francisco Shock in the second. Gambit Esports defeats Team Envy 3-0 to win the Valorant Masters 3 Berlin tournament. Regional Last Chance tournaments are next in October, followed by the Final Champions tournament in December. League of Legends Worlds 2021 group draw took place this week with 12 teams picked into 4 groups and 10 more selected for play-ins. Among the North American teams, 100 Thieves is in Group B, Team Liquid in Group D, and Cloud9 is in the play-in. Elsewhere, Halo Infinite's next multiplayer preview adds new features, including Big Team Battle and Capture the Flag, beginning this weekend. Pokemon Unite has launched on iOS and Android phones this week and includes cross-play and cross-progression with the Nintendo Switch. And finally, Activision Blizzard is under SEC investigation following the California DFEH lawsuit, according to a Wall Street Journal report. Activision Blizzard CEO Bobby Kotick is among many other executives who were subpoenaed in this investigation. Those are your 6 in 60 seconds. And as always, the 6 in 60 seconds is brought to you tonight by the sponsor of Cheesesteaks and Controllers, that is Ghost Shaver. The Ghost Shaver is designed to feel like an extension of your arm, allowing the user to reach anywhere on the head, face, or body. Its precision cutting system gives you a close and smooth shave every single time, thanks to 5 different rotary flex action super thin blades and a patented handle design that fits into the palm of your hand precisely. Go to ghostshaver.com to check things out and get yours. That is Ghost Shaver, a shave above the rest. Yes, folks, those are your 6 in 60 seconds for the week. You may have noticed that I did not cover the Nintendo Direct that took place on Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Don't you worry, we will get to that. We're going to definitely talk about everything that was announced at the Nintendo Direct show in our second segment this evening. But first, I must begin in the same fashion that I began the 6 in 60 seconds, talking about the end of the 2021 season for your Philadelphia Fusion. Unfortunately, after a shock qualification to the playoffs, getting through Hangzhou and Seoul, it looks like the Fusion left their soul in that match, and there will be no dynasty. Instead, it was their destiny to fall 0-2 and leave the Overwatch League playoffs early. It's very disappointing. I'm not going to lie. It's very disappointing to see what happened in those 2 matches. With all of the confidence that they were feeling leading in to this tournament, all that they were certainly feeling themselves after beating Seoul. I actually had the opportunity to speak with multiple players on the Overwatch League, on the Fusion team, leading up to the start of the playoffs. 2 of my pieces on esports.gg, of the 3, there is a third one coming on Saturday, talked to 4 of the starters on your Philadelphia Fusion. I got to speak to Carpe, I got to speak to Shockwave, I got to speak to Funny Astro, and I got to speak to Alarm. And I asked them what that sole victory meant to them. And I got some very good quotes from the team. I'm not going to lie. They seemed like they were really, really feeling themselves after that match. Carpe said they were able to figure out how to counterattack. They were well prepared, which led to their win. I feel we have grown as a team. Funny Astro felt so good. It was a good challenge to overcome, to be able to beat a team who managed to beat us every other time. Shockwave, a lot of our players started crying after the win, but since I didn't play the other tough games, I didn't think I felt quite the same way. I was happy, but not over the moon happy. At least the guy's honest, right? I asked them, does the Fusion have a slight reputation among the fans of not being able to big one? Does the win over Seoul prove those fans wrong, or does more need to be done? Alarm! This was just the first step. I have a lot more to show. Shockwave, winning versus Seoul is a big confidence booster, but facts are facts, and we didn't make it to Hawaii once this season, so the fans aren't wrong. Funny Astro, I think we can do more, but we don't need to. It was a big win, but I think people forget we have had big wins before, and managing to get top 4 last year wasn't easy, and we had to win important games. This is true, Funny Astro, but your fans want more. And while I understand that you are proud of yourself for the big wins you have accomplished, we're not quite done yet, there, fellas. So we were hoping that you would at least win a single game in this tournament. Was it realistic to think that you would have gone all the way and won the Overwatch League Championship this year? No, of course not. I'll be the first one to admit that. However, I also think that it was not asking too much for you to advance once. And you did not do that. You lost 3-1 to the LA Gladiators on Tuesday night because you forgot Kevster exists, which is funny because I asked the team, I said the LA Gladiators have a ton of momentum after taking the Countdown Cup. How do you plan to counter that? And Shockwave said, I can't go into details about our strategy, but one thing I will say is kill Kevster. They didn't do that. Kevster was flanking or behind them the entire match. Every single map, that guy had the advantageous position, and I don't know how he kept doing it. How many times did I see Kevster kills Shockwave, Kevster kills Mono, Kevster kills Hotba, over and over and over again? And Space, the tank up front, wasn't doing them any favors either, so they were getting beat on both sides. They looked lost out there a couple of times against those Gladiators. Gladiators might be the real deal. I don't know. They may surge all the way to the championship and keep the Overwatch League title on the west coast of the U.S. after 2 straight trips to San Francisco. But I thought they were beatable. I thought they made some mistakes that we could have exploited and didn't do. I thought the way that we used our ultimates was a little iffy, especially in that last map. I thought that we had more. I thought we had more cohesion. I thought we had more ability. I thought we had more, and we didn't. But there was an opportunity to, recover from it. It is a double elimination tournament. So they went down to the lower bracket after losing to LA Gladiators, meaning they had another chance. They had another chance to beat a team and move on in the tournament. The team waiting for them in the lower bracket was the San Francisco Shock. And the San Francisco Shock beat them in 5 maps, 3-2. Now, they fought them hard. They did. But for me, the biggest problem in that match was they weren't able to stick to heroes. I felt like those players on the Fusion were switching heroes far too often. You cannot get, coordinated. You cannot set up a foundation. You cannot set up a good offense or defense if you keep switching the heroes that you're using, resetting your ult back to 0 instead of wherever it was when you did the switch. That doesn't work. Pick one and stick to it and you'll have more success, in my opinion. I thought they switched way too much. I thought they were inside their own heads. Carpe even said to me that the thing they need to do to ensure, when I asked, what do you need to do to ensure this team makes a deep run in the playoffs? He said, it is best to adjust to the plays of the opposing teams during the matches. And I agree with that to a point. You want to adjust? Fine. You want to keep adjusting after you've already adjusted and therefore ruined your adjustment? Not good. They overthought it, if you ask me. They overthought that fifth map against San Francisco. They overthought the entire match against the LA Gladiators, and now they're sitting at home. They went 0-2. They're no longer in the playoffs, and their season is over. A season that, for the most part, was inconsistent. They came out barreling in the first tournament, the May Melee, going 4-0 before losing the play-in and not making it to the Final Four. The June Joust and the Summer Showdown, they were middling. Either not making the play-ins at all or losing in the play-ins again. And then finally in the Countdown Cup, they lost in the play-ins once again, did not make that. Solidified their not making it to Hawaii, as Shockwave said. And then all of a sudden they made the playoffs on 2 straight play-in matches. They decided they wanted to win play-ins. They got past Hangzhou and they got past Seoul, and then they were in. And they did nothing with it. All that hope, all that hype, all that desire to win, all these great answers in this interview that they sent me, or the answers that they sent me to my interview, and they couldn't do it. They couldn't even win you one match. They couldn't win you one single match. They couldn't move up in the bracket one time. And that, to me, as a Fusion fan, not only, as a guy who covers the Fusion, but as a fan of this team, is unacceptable. They are too good to be doing this. Many people predicted the Fusion to make a run, whether it was in the winner's bracket or in the loser's bracket. Many, many people that I spoke to. Will English IV came on this show last week and predicted just that. And they thanked you for that confidence by flaming out and going 0-2. If you're a Fusion fan, honestly, you may be beaten into submission at this point because that stigma of not being able to win the big one does exist. There's an example of it in every single Overwatch season. But when you're done being lethargic, or when you're done being non-reactive because you're used to this from your Fusion, you should get mad. You should be angry that this team let you down again. With MVP caliber players like Carpe and Alarm and Funny Astro. Now, granted, Poco wasn't there, but Poco's not the whole team. All I heard about in the pre-show was EQO's Genji. Where was he? Where was he? Where was that? One time EQO's Genji came out to play during one of the shock matches. That was it. Funny Astro is supposed to be the best Lucio in the world, according to him. His Lucio barely did anything. I'm disappointed and I'm upset. I'm mad. I had high hopes for this team. Were they championship hopes? No, not realistically. But one playoff win? One playoff win is not too much to ask from this team, or was not too much to ask from this team. And they couldn't give it to you. They couldn't do it. And now the team as you know it is probably never going to exist again. And not because they're getting bought and moved, not because the league is dissolving, nothing like that. No, it's far simpler. Next year, heavily rumored to be played entirely in Overwatch 2. If you're not familiar with Overwatch 2, Overwatch 2 changes the format from 5-on-5 to 6-on-6 to 5-on-5. It removes a player from each team. In fact, it removes a tank. Each team loses a tank starting next year. So for us, that's Mano or Hotba. See you later. Thank you for your service. I'm guessing it'll be Hotba. The team as we're used to it these last 4 years will not exist next year because the basic format of the league is changing. They're changing to Overwatch 2. We don't know what that will bring. And that, to me, just makes these 2 losses that much more upsetting. This team, as built, the Carpe Alarm combo, Funny Astro, EQO, Rascal. Where was Rascal in these two matches? Coming from a two-time champs to here and disappearing in the playoffs when it mattered the most. The fact that this team will no longer be able to line up as they are is disappointing. I had big hopes this season, considering how close we got the Final Four last year, that a repeat performance of that and getting back to the Final Four, all bets were off. But they couldn't win you one playoff match. Not a single playoff match. They won a couple of maps. But I don't want maps. I want matches. I want finals. I want 3-0, 3-1, 3-2 fusion. I have enough maps. Now I want matches. And with the team that I've grown to love in these 4 years since the Overwatch League has begun, the team that I'm used to will no longer be able to give me those. Next year will be a new team. It may not look entirely different. It may be made up of a lot of the same players that we're used to, but it'll be different. Fundamentally different Overwatch. And I can only hope that this team will adapt and be fundamentally different as well. And maybe, just maybe, in the era of Overwatch 2, the Philadelphia Fusion can win you one stinking playoff match. All right, welcome back to Cheesesteaks and Controllers on this September 23rd, episode 66 coming your way. 66 episodes, man. I still remember making that first one and being all nervous and everything. It's been a crazy ride, but let's talk about for our second segment this evening. We finally had, after so many years of waiting, and by years I mean 3 months, 3 months of waiting. We finally had ourselves a brand new Nintendo Direct. Nintendo Direct, September 23rd. I said January 23rd. That's my birthday. September 23rd, 6 p.m. Eastern Time on Thursday. We had 40 minutes of Nintendo news to sink our teeth into. These videos, man, always come with a lot of hype. Always really bring the heat as far as announcements go, and this one was no exception. People knew that a September Nintendo Direct was coming. They've only done one every year for the last 6 years. This one was the latest it's ever been. It's normally in the first 2 weeks of September, so some people thought, oh no, maybe it's not coming. There it was. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to recap all the announcements as they happened. I'm just going to go through the list of everything that happened, and what you're going to hear me clicking in the background, I'm actually clicking through the video just so I can remember off the top of my head what all the announcements were as they happened in the video. If you go to YouTube, Nintendo's YouTube, you'll find Nintendo Direct 9/23/2021, and you'll see it for yourself. So the first announcement of the show was a new expansion for Monster Hunter Rise, the Nintendo Switch exclusive Monster Hunter game called Sunbreak. Looks like we're going to a whole new area with whole new monsters and new items and new weapons and stuff like that. Interesting that they're choosing sun and something fiery after the Iceborne Monster Hunter World, the previous game. So they're going from ice to fire or sun. That's an interesting little duality there. But cool that it's getting an expansion. Not a surprise. It's really following the same development track that Monster Hunter World did. Came out, I believe, January 2017, and by June or July, maybe August of 2018, we had Iceborne. Here, Monster Hunter Rise out in March. Summer 22 for Sunbreak. Makes perfect sense. They're still doing collaborations, inter-Capcom collaborations through DLC, where you can play as Akuma from Street Fighter and use like the Shoryuken and stuff like that. There was a skin for the little dog companion character named the Palamute, which is a great play on words for Malamute and Pal. He's your pal Malamute. He's your Palamute. Love that. That made him look like Rush from Mega Man 11. That was a cool little partnership there between Mega Man and Monster Hunter. And apparently we're going to get more stuff like that. There's one more Capcom collaboration in the hopper, as I understand it, according to the press release, or the Capcom Unity blog post as well. But it's a good start. Good start, good way to kick things off. Monster Hunter is a huge franchise. Rise is a great Switch exclusive does the franchise well, and that's a pretty cool thing there for the Monster Hunter fans. Next up, we had an update on Mario Party Superstars, which comes out at the end of October 28th. A game that mixes boards and mini games from throughout all of Mario Party's history, all 9 or 10 games or whatever it is, maybe 11 actually, including Super Mario Party, into one big game. So they introduced some new boards, the Woody Woods, I think it was called, from Mario Party 2 or 3, Yoshi's Tropical Island, Horrorland from the GameCube Mario Party games, plus an area that's just the mini games portion called Mount Mini Games. That's kind of cool. Love me some Mario Party. Don't like what it does to my friendships. I'm afraid of what it would do to my family if we started playing Mario Party regularly, but I would love to do it. So maybe Mario Party Superstars will be my entry into that. Next up, we had an interesting game, a card-based RPG called Voice of Cards by the creator of Nier Automata, named Yoko Taro. This is a brand new game of his, focusing on cards, a card-based RPG. The full name is Voice of Cards, The Isle Dragon Roars. Looks almost like a board game in a sense, where you're moving from card to card. You have different formations in battle and stuff like that. It's an interesting little format. Need to see a little more. This is the first gameplay we've seen of it. Need to really dig into how the gameplay works. But I do like what I see. I think it's an interesting take on the RPG and mixes in a little bit of that card building, deck building stuff. Interested to see more. Would like to see what's going on there. Next, we had a release date for Disco Elysium on Switch. So Disco Elysium is a detective mystery game. First came out on PC 2 years ago, I believe. Then the final cut came out this past year for PS5 and other consoles, and now is coming to the Switch finally on October the 12th with a physical version coming early 2022. Everyone who has played Disco Elysium tells me that it is one of the greatest games on any console that you can get. I have not played it myself. Just haven't had the time to sit down and do it. It's on my list. I believe I do have it on the PC through Good Old Games or Epic Games or whatever it is I bought it on. So I do want to play it. I just have not had the opportunity. Hopefully soon. But maybe I'll play for Extra Life, the charity event coming up in November. But yeah, that is definitely one that is on my list. Next up was another look at the next expansion for Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, that being called Guardian of Remembrance. Showed a couple of the extra characters you can play as, some of the things we're going to be doing in that. Decent little trailer, not a whole lot to write home about. After that was Chocobo GP, a return of Chocobo Racing, a oft-forgotten kart racer for the PS1, featuring Final Fantasy VII mascots and characters. And just based on the slight things that I'm seeing as I am watching the trailer here, I see a Chocobo, I see characters from Final Fantasy IX, including Steiner and Vivi. I heard some familiar music as well. Melodies of Life was playing very distinctly and at the end of that trailer. That was really cool. So that was a nice little surprise. That's what Nintendo Directs are great for, the surprises that come out of left field and really shock you. And that was one of them. So 2022, we'll get a new kart racer for the Switch. It's not the kart racer for the Switch everybody wants, Mario Kart 9, but it's something. Next up was a brief update on Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. A highly predicted event in this Nintendo Direct was the final Super Smash Bros. Ultimate DLC character, confirmed to be the last one ever for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. The game will cease support starting with this final DLC character. We thought it was coming in Nintendo Direct. It did not. However, they did confirm that the final presentation for the final character is happening 10 days from now on October the 5th at 10 a.m. Eastern Time on Nintendo's YouTube and Twitch page. We will learn who the final character is, how they play, what their stage is. He will go through the entire walkthrough, will the director Masahiro Sakurai, as he has for every other DLC character that has come before them. And then Super Smash Bros. Ultimate will be in the books, finally, after the largest roster in history. I'm going to do a whole retrospective on Super Smash Bros. Ultimate in a later episode, maybe 2 weeks, maybe next week, obviously, or the week after, episode 68 after it's announced. I'm going to go through the entire development cycle and how fun it was to be in this loop. I'm very excited to get this last character. There are predictions flying around. Maybe I'll do that next week. Throw in my predictions into the hat. You'll have no objections from me. But as to who I think that character will be, only people that I like to see in there. And that's a cool announcement. So Mr. Sakurai presents October the 5th. Something to look forward to as we moved on here. And then they moved into a new trailer and we didn't know what it was off the top of our heads. It was a very desolate, overgrown, post-apocalyptic mall setting, over greens all over the ceilings and the floors, cracked rocks everywhere. Wasn't really sure where they were going with this. At first I thought it was Splatoon 3 because it kind of had that feel to it. Then all of a sudden we're on a beach with palm trees and the camera shifts and we're looking at Kirby. The pink puffball hero Kirby has a brand new game called Kirby and the Forgotten Land, a open world sort of adventure game, kind of like Super Mario Odyssey's levels were, but set on one island where you're exploring this desolate, abandoned cityscape. Kirby and the Forgotten Land is the name of the game. Kirby games are known for being very easy, very child-friendly, very kid-friendly introductions to the genres that they're in. So this very well could be your kid's first open world game. And I think that's an interesting take. Kirby doesn't really do things other than basic platforming. So to branch out here is interesting. So I will definitely be keeping an eye on that one. I would love to introduce the open world concept to my kids through Kirby. Because this one definitely looks like it could be the kind of game to do that. After that, there was a bit of a interlude by the host, and then the screen gets dark, and I hear familiar music. Suddenly, we're in the Animal Crossing Museum in Animal Crossing New Horizons. The character goes up the stairs, and suddenly there's a new hallway on the right side of the museum, somewhere we weren't able to go before. And then the screen fades to black once again, and I hear even more familiar music, this time for the first time in Animal Crossing New Horizons. It is Brewster's Cafe, The Roost, coming back to Animal Crossing in New Horizons, a Animal Crossing Direct scheduled for October will give us more information about that new content coming in November, bringing the Roost and Brewster back to Animal Crossing for the first time in New Horizons. So good news for the Animal Crossing fans there. Then we started getting some rapid-fire updates. We got another free update coming for Mario Kart Super Rush, adds Koopa Troopa, the character, and Bowser's Castle as a course. Two additional courses, I believe. I'm sorry. Coming, and that's a free software update already out. So if you own Mario Golf Super Rush, you already have access to this content. Next, we had a game, Disney's Magical World 2 Enchanted Edition, which basically has my kids written all over it, just exploring different areas of the Disney properties. I see Lilo and Stitch, I see Elsa and Anna, I see Ariel, I see Winnie the Pooh. This is going to be a game I have a feeling I'm going to play and be forced to play many, 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 many times. And, I'll be happy to do it, but yeah, it's definitely going to happen. Next, we have Knights of the Old Republic, the classic Xbox RPG from BioWare, coming to the Nintendo Switch. That's a huge, huge get for the Switch. One of the most revered games of the original Xbox era, now moving up to the Switch just in time for the remake that was announced at PlayStation Showcase a couple of weeks ago. Dying Light 2, coming December. It was delayed into 2022, excuse me. Will also be coming to the Switch via the cloud service. You can play the games through the cloud. That's a pretty cool feature there. And also Dying Light 1 Platinum Edition will be coming to the Switch in October. Moving on now to Triangle Strategy. This was a game that looked like Octopath Traveler. A demo version came out for it a while ago. They made some adjustments, and now they are ready to launch the game in March of 2022. It is a very striking sort of look for this Final Fantasy Tactics style game. The HD 2D graphics are absolutely beautiful. The new additions are difficulty levels and letting you review previous dialogue so you remember what was said before you answer. This game just looks awesome. It really looks like a great game. March 4th is when it's coming. Sign me up for that one. We then moved right into a Metroid Dread trailer. Cannot circle first week of October on my calendar enough. Can't wait for that one. Would love to dig into that and Planet ZDR as soon as possible. See what this Emmy robot is all about. October 8th. Gimme, gimme, gimme. And now we move on to one of the biggest announcements of the entire show, and probably my favorite of the entire show, all things considered. And that is that Nintendo Switch Online is adding both Nintendo 64 and Sega Genesis. So for those that don't know, if you subscribe to Nintendo Switch Online, so you can play games online, you also have access to a selection of Nintendo and Super Nintendo games that you can play whenever you want. This update brings Nintendo 64 to the mix, including Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, Super Mario 64, Yoshi's Story, Dr. Mario 64, Win Back, which is a classic 64 game, Star Fox 64, which is one of my favorites, the Japanese exclusive Sin and Punishment, Mario Kart 64, and that's just the first offering. There are more coming after that. I believe Mario Golf is part of it. Paper Mario will be coming. Banjo-Kazooie is on the list, and so on and so forth. Just a really, really cool addition. Super, super excited about it. And then they decided, you know what, that's not all. We're also going to add Sega Genesis. Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Space Harrier, all kinds of really cool Streets of Rage 2, classic Sega Genesis games, now available on your Switch whenever you want. There was a list out there somewhere. I'll have to find the full list of what's coming. In fact, it is in the trailer as well, but I'm having trouble finding it at the moment. So we'll not worry about that. You can find a list online if you want to see exactly what's coming. So that was my favorite announcement of the whole thing, right dead center in the middle of it. We then moved on to some trilogies or collections that are coming to the Switch soon. One is called Shadowrun Trilogy, which I can't believe I'm talking about Shadowrun in the year 2021, but here we are. Isometric RPGs from the old PC days. Very, very cool that they're coming to Switch soon. Castlevania Advance Collection, bringing some classic Game Boy Advance Castlevania characters. Games, not characters, excuse me. Classic Castlevania Game Boy Advance games to the Switch. You can choose between the American, Japanese, or European versions. They all have different little tweaks to them, especially if you're like in the speedrunning community and stuff like that. That was a cool little collection, and that dropped today, so that's already out. And then they dropped another classic on us in the return of ActRaiser, an old Super Nintendo action RPG, coming back completely remastered, looking very, very good, mind you. This is one that also dropped today, the name ActRaiser Renaissance. I wonder if they're planning on doing something to this franchise in that they plan, and that makes them plan to bring this game out now. Let's see what happens here. More ActRaiser might be happening soon, but this Renaissance, this new updated version, looks really, really sweet, and I hope it sells well so they keep the ActRaiser franchise going. Next up, we had Deltarune Chapter 2, which is already out on PC, also coming to the Switch, also coming for free. Undertale fans have been analyzing this game since it dropped last week, and now the Switch fans will be able to do the very same. Looks pretty cool there. Next up, we had a bit of a montage with Paradox Interactive Surviving the Aftermath, Shin Megami Tensei 5 coming from Sega. Digital pre-orders began today. Rune Factory 5 was on this montage. Wreckfest from THQ Nordic was on the montage as well. And then we skipped back to the host. And now all of a sudden we have Shigeru Miyamoto, who is the father of Mario, the guy who put Nintendo on the map. He has decided to join the presentation. He rarely joins the presentation. So when he's coming, you know that something big is happening. He is here to talk about the Super Mario feature-length movie coming from the studio that makes the Minions movies and Despicable Me and stuff like that. They have partnered to make a Super Mario movie. He announced that it's coming out next December, 3 days before Christmas, December 22nd, 2022. And he also announces some of the voice cast that will be voicing these characters in this brand new movie. And some of them are head scratchers, but some of them are absolutely perfect. Super Mario will be voiced by Star-Lord himself, Chris Pratt. That's a weird one. Anya Taylor-Joy will be voicing Princess Peach. That makes sense. Charlie Day voicing Luigi makes way too much sense. Jack Black as Bowser is perfect. And then there are a couple of other characters that show up. Keegan-Michael Key as Toad. Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong. Charles Martinet, the voice of Mario, will also be in different places making cameos. Kamek will be Kevin Michael Richardson. Fred Armisen will be Cranky Kong. I like that choice too. And one of my favorite comedians, Sebastian Maniscalco, coming as Spike from Wrecking Crew. A nice addition both in actor and in character. I like that choice a lot. So this looks like a really strong cast. I need to see some videos, some trailers. Not coming anytime soon, understandably. We are still, very much a long time away from the movie actually coming out, 14 months about. But when that first trailer comes out, I will be excited to see it. Next, we got a good look at Splatoon 3's campaign. Still only a 2022 release, but we got a lot of information about what's happening in this game, what's like lore, the campaign-wise. Seems like the mammals of the world are coming back. It's not just going to be the squid people of Splatoon anymore. We got a little more information from the head of the development, who always comes out in a weird lab coat. Makes me laugh. I enjoy it. But yeah, so we got a little bit more about the campaign there. Splatoon 3 saw some multiplayer as well. Game looks good. Game looks fun. Splatoon is really one that I haven't got into all that much, but when I have played it, I have liked it. So maybe Splatoon 3 will be the one to get me off my butt and actually start playing this game. And then for our final announcement of the Nintendo Direct, after nearly 4 years since its first announcement, being completely dormant all that time, Bayonetta 3 finally shows its face and is more of the over-the-top insane action that you expect from Bayonetta. Great first trailer, had some gameplay, also lists 2022 as a release date, whatever that means. If we're going by the same time frame as Bayonetta 2 on the Wii U, we're talking like September or October. We'll see what they plan to do. I think Astral Chain, who was also from Platinum, was in August as well. So maybe I would predict somewhere in the August to October range for Bayonetta 3. Could be sooner, but we'll see what happens there. And that's it. That was the end of the Nintendo Direct. A strong Nintendo Direct, if you ask me. If I had to rate it, I'd probably put it somewhere at 8.5 out of 10. Biggest disappointment was that the Smash character was not announced, but the fact that they're going to do it as its own thing is kind of cool. I do like that idea. It does make me think that this character will be a big one. However, I don't really know what to think there. They've only done they've done presentations for all of their characters, but only twice have they done it where we didn't know who the character was ahead of time. The first one was the final character of the first pack. It was the 5th character added. It ended up being Byleth from Fire Emblem Three Houses. A bit of a disappointment considering the hype around the other characters that were in, like Joker from Persona, Dragon Quest Zero, Banjo-Kazooie, and Terry Bogard. The second time they did it was for the second challenger in Challenger Pack 2, which were in Character Pack 2, so the 7th DLC character. That was revealed on October the 1st of 2020, and it broke Twitter, being Minecraft Steve coming to Smash Brothers, broke Twitter, that announcement. It was such an impact. So this third one could be a Twitter breaker, or it could be an announcement, or it could be somewhere in between. I really don't know where that's going to fall. Personally, I'd like to lean towards Twitter breaker, which makes me think something like super outlandish, but I don't know. Regardless of who it is, I fully expect the video to end with Masahiro Sakurai announcing his well-deserved retirement. But maybe that won't happen. Or he'll throw us a fast one, and this will be a completely original character that is the star of his brand new game, and he'll bridge us right to his next project. Sounds like something he would do. Would make a lot of sense. It's what Street Fighter V's doing. Why not do it here too? We'll see. But then again, 8.5 out of 10 Nintendo Direct. Absolutely loved it. A lot of great announcements. A lot of impactful announcements. We'll know for sure the full impact once they're all out and we've played them. But it had everything. It had brand new debuts. It had big returns. It had updates. It had shadow drops. It had everything you want from the Nintendo Direct, and you really can't argue with that. All right, welcome back here. Cheesesteaks and Controllers, episode number 66. Wrapping things up tonight with the beginning of League of Legends Worlds 2021. One of the biggest esports tournaments of the year is kicking off, and actually did kick off this week, sort of, with the selection of groups. So groups are selected much in the same way that FIFA selects their groups. We talked about this last year a little bit. We had Pastry Time, the shopcaster, on our show to talk about Worlds that year. Going to try and get him back again this year, or maybe another one to talk with me about what's going on with League of Legends Worlds this year. But the group draw happened Wednesday morning, 7 a.m., or 8 a.m., excuse me, on the League of Legends Esports YouTube account. 22 teams are a part of the Worlds 2021 this year. 12 of them are already in their groups and have a little bit longer to wait, but 10 of them are in the play-ins. And the play-ins, the way that they work is those 10 teams are split into two groups, Group A and Group B, play each other twice each, I believe, so they have 8 matches total. Could be wrong about that. And then after you have those matches, you have your rankings. Top team moves on. The fifth team is out. And then the third and fourth teams play each other in each group, right? Once the third and fourth teams play each other, the winner of those matches plays the second seed from the other group. And the winner of those two matches move on as well. It's an interesting system. Makes things interesting, especially in that last match. So, looking at Group A in the play-in stage, you have Hanwha Life Esports, Infinity Esports, LNG, Peace, and the Red Canids. And then in Group B, Beyond Gaming, North America's Cloud9, Detonation Focus Me, Galatasaray Esports out of Turkey, and my favorite esports team of all time will always be the favorite name. Very, very hard to top. That is the Unicorns of Love. Love that name. Always will. Hope they make it very far. But I digress. So, for example, the way that the play-ins work, if Cloud9 wins every match that they play, they'll move on, they'll be number one, whatever. If they're number two, they have to wait for the winner of the third and fourth seed from Group A, which is not someone they would have played before, making things very interesting. If they fall into third or fourth, they'll have to play the other team and then play the second seed from the other Group A in order to make it. And if they come in fifth, they lose all their matches. They're done, and their worlds will be over. Hoping that doesn't happen, but that's how your North American team in Group B, Cloud9, moves on from the play-ins to the actual groups. Those actual groups we will look at right now. Group A, according to the League of Legends experts over at esports.gg in our Discord, we were having a conversation about, while this was happening, the guys that were awake, including myself. They were very good to correct me. I thought that 100 Thieves was going to find themselves in an absolute terrible situation with Edward Gaming and RNG, but then I remembered that they're both Chinese teams. They can't be in the same group, so we kind of dodged a bullet there. Not to say that their group didn't end up being very tough, but first things first. So Group A is what the esports.gg folks consider to be an absolutely deadly group based on who was put there. First, your defending champion, Damwon Gaming Kia, or DWG Kia. They're the defending champions. The runners-up in the MSI. To be the man, you got to beat the man, as it is. So Damwon Gaming is in that Group A, and they are paired with a team called Fun Plus Phoenix, another very good esports name, by the way. This is a former world champion. I'm looking up right now when they won that Worlds. The date eludes me, but I know that they won Worlds. I want to say 2017 or 2018. Let me see here. Where are Worlds 2020? Where are we at? Demacia? No, that's the LPL. Worlds 2019. They did win Worlds 2019. They beat G2. I knew it. So they are a former champion, the champion before Damwon Gaming. So your last two world champions in League of Legends are in the same group, along with poor Rogue from the European League. Sorry, guys. That's tough. Yeah, the last two champions and Rogue. I don't want to say thanks for coming, Rogue, but thanks for coming. And whoever lands in that group from play-ins, hoo boy, you're going to have some fun with that. So Group A is going to be the one to watch when this kicks off in October, a little later in October, just for having the last two champions in it. Group B, also a interesting one as well. 100 Thieves, who was the top team in the North American region this year, is in that group, along with Edward Gaming, a tough team out of China, and T1, another perennial favorite who has what some consider to be the best League of Legends player of all time in the mid laner. Faker is on T1. So that's another tough group there. 100 Thieves has its work cut out for it. Again, we don't know who's going to be in from the play-ins, but that's a tough draw for 100 Thieves. Group C, we see Fnatic, who was another perennial favorite from EMEA. PSG Talon, Paris Saint-Germain Talon, another another tough team. And finally, Royal Never Give Up, who won the MSI. So they have the most recent international tournament championship under their belt, at least as far as the official League of Legends circuit is concerned, the Riot circuit. So they're going to be a tough team out of Group C. They may even come out of Group C. I don't see really Fnatic or PSG Talon upending them, or I don't see both of them upending RNG, Royal Never Give Up, and leaving them out of the knockouts. So I don't know who it's going to be from Fnatic and PSG, but I do think that Royal is going to advance from Group C. And then finally, Group D, we have Gen G, we have Mad Lions, and we have your other North American team in Team Liquid. They were one of the last teams added to a group. In fact, I think they were the last team added to a group, getting into Group D from the group draw. Mad Lions, Gen G, both great teams. That's a tough draw as well. A lot of really tough matchups in all four of these groups. And we don't even know who the play-in teams are yet. And they always bring a little bit of momentum with them when they get there. It's going to be a heck of a year for League of Legends esports. And the way that the group stage works is every team plays every other team 2 times, I believe. And then once the 6 matches are completed, you have your records. If any tiebreakers need to be played, those are played. And then the top 2 seeds from each group move on to the knockout stage. They are reseeded from 1 to 8, and then they are best of 1s until the finals, and the finals is a best of 3. I believe that is correct. Oh no, I'm wrong. I'm a little bit wrong there. Every match is a best of 5. It's a single elimination bracket, drawn randomly. All the first seeds, all first place seeds play the second place seeds in their groups, but they don't play the one from the group they came from. So they can't be placed in the same half of the bracket. That's interesting. And all the matches are best of 5 in the knockout stage. The group stage, the matches are best of 1 in the double round robin. So sorry about that. A little bit backwards. $489,000 awaits the winner of the tournament, whoever that may be. That's 420,000 euros, considering I think they're in Reykjavik, Iceland for this tournament this year. Going to be a fun tournament. Kicks off in earnest on October the 11th with the group stage, the main event, as it's called. Play-ins are, I believe, the week before. October the 5th, I believe, is when they start the play-ins. And then we have our groups in earnest. Now, if you've never watched League of Legends before, I suggest you go back and watch some videos on demand from the LCS or from LoL Esports. There is a lot to take in. There's a lot to wrap your head around. But when you start to understand it, which I've come around to, when you start to understand what's going on in League of Legends, it can be very compelling. The fact that it's like stop, start, and there's always a little bit of action going on somewhere on the map, but then all of a sudden there's a big rush and all these crazy things happen, and the shoutcasters are going crazy, and then everything calms down again, and then we start sneaking, and then the Drake appears, and whoever kills the Drake gets the buff, and then the dragon appears, and whoever kills the dragon gets that buff. It's fun. It's every match is about 45 minutes to an hour. But there's a lot of action to enjoy, a lot of strategy involved with the economy and, the gold and all that stuff. It's a fun game. So before Worlds kicks off, I suggest you go watch some on-demand matches from the season, get familiar with the teams, and then you're ready to go. Hopefully, like I said, I can have someone from Riot come on over to the show and talk Worlds with me for a little while. Would love that. Send some emails this week, see if we can't make that happen before play-ins start. But if not, hope you enjoy League of Legends Worlds 2021. Check it out on the LoL Esports YouTube channel. LOLesports.com is another great resource as well. In fact, the live stats while matches are going on, if you're watching on LOLesports.com, are awesome. Can't recommend those enough. So Worlds is here. LoL Worlds is here, and we are all ready to be excited about it. If I had to pick a team right now without, I don't have the biggest base knowledge of this game, but if I had to pick a team right now to take it all, honestly, it's pretty tough. I may go with Fun plus Phoenix to take it all again. I think whoever makes it out of Group A has the best chance. I think the two teams that make it out of Group A are going to meet each other in the finals, and then whoever wins is going to win the whole thing. That's what, if I had to really make a choice, that's my choice. Group A, someone from Group A is going to win League of Legends Worlds 2021. Which team that's going to be, I don't know. We'll talk to me once there's 5 matches played in the groups, and I know who's left, or what the records are before that final match. But right now, I'm just excited to watch some more League of Legends, and I hope that you are too. And with that, we are at the end of episode 66 of the Cheesesteaks and Controllers podcast. I feel like it just started, and we're already at the end. How about that? Make sure that you go to my social medias at Big Man Finelli to see how you can win a pair of passes to Too Many Games in Oaks, Pennsylvania, coming up October 8th through the 10th. I'll be giving away 2 pairs this week, 2 pairs next week. And then we'll have 1 final pair to be given away randomly. Haven't quite figured out how to do that yet, but I will figure it out before then. In the meantime, my name is Jason Finelli, and this has been episode 66 of the Cheesesteaks and Controllers podcast, presented on Fox PHL The Gambler, 102.5 FM, 1480 AM, iHeart Radio. Thank you as always for your ears and your attention and your time. The fact that you are still listening to my voice here at the end always makes me happy. And I really am grateful that you spend this time with me every week, talking about esports, talking about video games, and talking about stuff that I love to talk about. But speaking of talking, I will do no more. We are at the end of episode number 66. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. I hope you have a great week right behind it. And we will be back next week for 67 and more esports and gaming greatness. Until then, goodbye.